Before then, at least we can touch a little bit on matters health, but when it comes to physiotherapists. And Jessica Shirakushe is a physiotherapist. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Kindly tell us something about yourself and what you do.
My name is Jessica Shiraku, not Shirakushe.
Oh, Shiraku.
I'm a physiotherapist. I work at the Nairobi Hospital, and I'm also a sports therapist who has been working as a sports therapist for the last over 25 years. I've handled various teams. Currently, my position at the Nairobi Hospital is the chief physiotherapist and head of orthopedic and sports center, which we set up a few years ago. Yeah. A
sports therapy center. What
orthopedic and sports therapy center. So this sports therapy center is a multidisciplinary center where we work together with orthopedic doctors. We have the physiotherapists, we have the nutritionists, and we have also the nurses. So it is a multidisciplinary center that which was set up at the Nairobi Hospital by me and one of the sports doctors called Dr. Bargore.
And you're talking about across different fields?
Yes, it's across different fields. We see all types of sports, ranging from athletics, rugby, football, all kind of sports. Any sports injuries, we manage it.
Which are some of the teams that you've been able to work with?
I've worked with several teams. I've worked with football teams. There's a time we went with the football team to Brazil. I've worked with cricket. I've worked with athletics, and I've worked with swimmers and rugby as well. Yeah.
So tell us, now that we have CHAN, are you having any involvement in regards to CHAN, and especially for our Kenyan team?
Yes, we will take care, especially regarding the injuries and the wellness of athletes. It's very, very important that the physios are there to help with the CHAN. Yes, we will take part.
Yeah, and football is a physical demanding sport. What sort of injuries, mostly, because you've talked about going to Brazil with the national team, which are some of the most common injuries that you have witnessed and some of the therapy that you've been given to these athletes?
So most common injuries in football is what we call the lower limbs injuries. So those are strains, sprains, muscle tears, and at times we even get what we call concussion. Concussion is, because of the impact of the way they do, you can have a head injury. And that is one of the worst injuries that you can get when you're having football. So the other ones of the muscle strain and muscle injuries are easy to handle. For example, you always see us carrying some ice in our bags. We are carrying some deep heat, deep freeze. Those freezes that we help to really manage the injuries as they occur. The thing for an athlete is that they should continue. They don't want to get out of the field. So they feel like if I have an injury, there's someone who can handle that injury there and then and make me able to go. Unless if it is very serious, the sprains and the strain we handle and the athletes go back to play.
Could you walk us through a typical rehabilitation exercise for a football player? Because I'm not saying that we will have players injured, but we are likely to see that happen.
Okay. The most important thing that a football player should do is to ensure that they do a correct warm-up before they get into the field. I'm sure you've seen most of the time, even when we are trying to get somebody into the field, someone is warming for so long, you wonder, is that person not getting tired? But we need them to have very warm muscles as they get in. With a warm muscle, it is easy for them not to get injury. So that is why we start with the rehabilitation. We ensure that before they get into the field, we prevent any sort of injury from happening. So they do warm-ups, and after the warm-ups, we do for them what we call stretches. Stretches is to ensure that the joints are supple enough and there's easy movement. With stiff joints, you may not be able to do much. So we do for them the stretches to ensure that these athletes are in a good supple movement and their joints can move to any place. You can see there's a lot of rotation, there's a lot of movement, and with stiff joints you cannot be able to do that. But in case there is an injury, we always ensure that that athlete is put to rest. That is a very important thing. And that's why we start with the RICE. RICE is where you put rest, ice, elevation, and also rest. So it is very, very important that we start with that. And when we do that, then sometimes we use what you call an ultrasound machine. An ultrasound machine is a physio machine which just helps to reduce the swelling and increase circulation to the injured part. So when there's increased circulation to that injured part, you find that now the healing takes place very, very fast. And why do we use ice? We use ice because at that particular time, there's a lot of inflammation in the muscles. When there's a lot of inflammation in the muscles, we want to reduce that inflammation by putting ice. So this is what we work with, what we call vasoconstriction. There's vasoconstriction whereby there's not too much blood that is sent to the point, and it will help to reduce the pain. So the rehabilitation starts right there. And if, for example, I've said if a the athlete is seriously injured and we put to rest, then we will work together with an orthopedic doctor so that we ensure that this athlete is taken care of until when they are ready to return to play. So in rehabilitation phase, you will find that we use almost the gym equipments. You will take that athlete to the treadmill, you will take them to the cross trainer, but every time you are watching the gait is really key so that they are stepping properly. Because sometimes you may find that they are favoring one side, and when you are favoring one side, you know your body is not balanced. So we really work towards making sure that their body is balanced enough, and when it is balanced enough, then they are able to go back to play.
Talking of balance, how do you strike the delicate balance where you find that a player desire to return to play quickly before he or she has fully recovered, and so that you as the physiotherapist, you want to avoid additional injury, and maybe you are sure that indeed, and as much as a player wants to play, because I remember I used to play basketball and I've played it, let's say semi-pro, and I remember I had to hide an injury because I wanted to play in that game. And as a physiotherapist, I'm quite sure if there was a physiotherapist, I wouldn't have played that game.
Yeah. What you're saying is exactly what happens. Every time the players and the athletes try to hide injuries. And this is very, very common because, you know, they have the pressure to go and represent the country. They want to be seen there, so they will hide injuries. So that is why in every training, a physiotherapist is there. So we are watching you. We have an eye that can pick anything that is happening. I'll give you an example. You find that someone has a very bad knee, but they still want to run. So you will watch the way they are doing, they're hiding, but I will notice because now the way you step, as I told you, is very important to me. You may find that you are even trying to step on the lateral side of the foot rather than stepping the way it is. So we can always pick up anything that you are trying to hide. So with physios, that is one thing that we really do. And we always talk with the coach and we tell the coach, despite everything, this athlete needs further evaluation. And for sure, when we take that athlete now for evaluation, you know, we have to do the muscle back test, we have to do the joint range of motion. You'll always find that there's something. Because if you have a bad knee or a bad ankle joint, you don't want it to move to full range. Of course, even if I try to move it for you, you will twitch. I watch your face also to see how your face is reacting. So that's how we manage to pick all the athletes that are injured and we put them aside.
Despite the fact that they insist that Nikosawa.
Most of them will insist Nikosawa.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, there are many new technologies that have come over the years, because back in the days, I can attest, because back in the days, you have somebody, one of you, as the team doctor, you remember? With some glucose and stuff. But even in sporting disciplines and even high school, because the high school are the ones who are feeding the national teams that we have now, there are new techniques and technologies in sports therapy that are currently being used. Especially now in Kenya, because we have CHAN now. Yeah,
we have lots of new technologies that we use, but what you may know that we really do not advocate for so much is for the athletes to be put on, you know, those drugs, painkillers and whatever. So So most of the time we do we use what we call physical agents. So physical agents, it's like if, for example, an athlete has got an injury, they're the physical agents that we use to help them really go back to that. And then also there is also the evaluation. You know, you evaluate that athlete accordingly. You do pre-assessment to that athlete so that you know that now this is what we are using. It is not those days that when an athlete is running, okay, kuja ulambe glucose. You know, those glucose, at least we don't even give these days. We just ensure that you have properly rehydrated, you take enough water, and you are eating well. You know, for athlete also, nutrition is very key. I know those days there was nothing about nutrition. You just you eat ugali and skuma, you eat mrenda, and that's it. You go and play. But this is very important for an athlete also to look at the nutrition. How am I eating? Because also when you have a lot of fat composition in your body rather than muscles, then you are not able to also do what you need to do properly. In case of injuries, these days we have even there's a way nowadays we use some machines that can actually remove away the pain very fast. For example, we have the laser therapy, we have the shockwave therapy, which we send shockwave through the muscles, and the athletes actually get back quickly. And also the rehabilitation itself has changed. It is not the same way we would tell somebody, just go run. No. We do it in, let me just use the word science, because we are watching how are they doing it. How is the movement? How is the pattern of the movement? So that things have changed actually.
It's a good thing you've mentioned the diet. How much important is diet to not only a recovering athletes, but to our very active athletes, especially during physiotherapy? Because I've seen over the shelf everything from protein-based to things to rub, you know?
Yeah, when it comes to diet, and I'll tell athletes, players, the most important thing is the food that you eat. You know, those things on the shelf, they really don't do much. So just make sure you have a balanced diet where you eat enough protein, you eat enough starch, you have enough vitamin, so that your body is correctly balanced. Those off the shelf, they do not help much, but you need, some people really believe in them. So what we do, we encourage them to look at their nutrition and to feed well. And the most important thing also is for you to have the 3 balanced diet, from morning, eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, eat your dinner. Don't say that, oh, I ate dinner, now I don't want to eat lunch. So balance your diet properly so that you are able to play, and you have to go the 3 main diet effects.
And the climate, because we have, I just mentioned Morocco was the first country to get to Kenya, and we know they are from very high altitude, right?
Yes.
And the temperatures, now Kenya, it's a whole different case. Does that affect maybe the output of players? Does it affect the recovery of players as well?
Not really, because let me tell you, everything sometimes is in the mind. That I've gone to a cold area, I've gone to a hot area. As I said earlier, the most important thing is to ensure that you have warmed your muscles fully. So the temperatures may not affect you as much as athletes believe. And this is something I've always told them, please, let's not put too much effort on temperatures or on weather or whatever. If you are able to perform, do your warm-ups nicely, and you can always get it. And for sure, they are in Kenya, and Kenya has the best ever weather and climate in the world. Yes, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy.
Yeah, because of the equator.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm also looking at how you collaborate with other members of the medical team.
Yeah.
Because we have team doctor,
yes,
you have nutritionist, we have sports scientist, we have physiotherapist. Yeah. How do you collaborate with this?
So our work is interlinked. We work together throughout. So for example, the doctor is there for sometimes referrals. If, for example, I'm in the field with athletes throughout and I've noted what is the problem, I will obviously tell the doctor, I've noted this athlete, we need to check this and this. And for sure, the doctor will check and find out. And if I find there's an athlete who looks a bit like they're not feeding well. Most of the time you find some of them, especially when they go to other countries, they do not feed well, they don't want this food, it's not good. You encourage them now to see the nutritionist. And what I've noted is that nutritionists may encourage that athlete to eat the food they like. Okay? So if you like eating bread with soup, they'll encourage you now, take this, add this kidogo, so that you are not like starving. Okay? So we work together, and you find that we are all just called medical team, and we are almost always at the same time with the athlete. So if I'm going to watch that athlete, we are all together working as a team. Yeah.
What are some of the unique challenges that of providing physiotherapy to more or less like the tournament that we have? CHAN is a big event, as opposed to maybe the FKF matches that we have every weekend.
So the challenge that we have now in this big upcoming is the sports physicians, the sport physiotherapists, the sport nutrition. In Kenya we are not so many. Although they are coming up, we are not so many. So you'll find that we may have a bit of challenge in handling this, but we are still set. We will set and see, even if it means working 24 hours, we will still push ourselves to the end. And then sometimes it is also, I don't know, Moroccans language also sometimes becomes a bit of a challenge. There are some people who may not be able to speak the English or Kiswahili. And what happens is sometimes translation, people may translate the wrong thing. You may be requiring this and you find this is what has been translated. That is something which is really, really a problem. But I'm hoping that they have come with somebody who really can understand what we will be talking about. And the other thing is, as I said, when people come in, there is always sometimes food. You've not been used to that type of food. So you find that at times when the athletes come in, they have a lot of problems with their, let me just use the layman language, stomach. You find before they settle in, there is a problem, my stomach. But that is something that we always handle with our sports physician so that they can see what it is. That is one challenge that we've had, even when we had the other ones with the under 20 from athletics. There was a lot of stomach issues that they were complaining about. Yes.
Talking of diet, away from diet, beyond injury treatment, because that's not the only thing that you guys do. How does physiotherapy contribute to enhancing the player's performance?
Okay, physiotherapy is there like throughout. There's preventive, there's maintenance, and there's the treatment part. So you see, when you are with an athlete, you are preparing that athlete for a tournament. So I'm not saying an athlete because she's injured or what, but you may find that we do what we call the soft tissue manipulation. That soft tissue manipulation means you are releasing. Every time you have to release the lactic acid from the muscles, because after training, they really retain a lot of lactic acid. So that is why you find that at times, a physio is with that athlete almost like the whole day, just working with that athlete to ensure that those muscles do not retain a lot of lactic acid that may have. So that is part of maintenance, so that they are able to continue with their sports the next day. So you'll find that every evening after the training or every morning after the training, the athletes know, and they come to you and tell you, Madam, I'm feeling this muscle. Misulu utanifanyia nini? So it is like we work with them like throughout, not just because of injuries, but maintenance of the body as well.
Kenya has never hosted such a big event, sporting event. The last time, I think it was the All African Games in '87. How do you see hosting CHAN impacting the standards of sports physiotherapy and also athlete care?
We are really excited.
Because we're expecting different types of physiotherapists for the number of teams.
We are actually excited to have them around, because we are looking at it now that they will see that really Kenya is a power in sports, that we have the sports physio who can handle all that comes in. So it is going to impact on us, because that now what you will see, you may find that many people now will even want to be sports physio because they'll see this opening, these things that they can do. So we are happy and we're looking forward to having them, because in Kenya now, even the government will recognize the importance of physio in the society as well.
And I'm looking at your numbers as sports physiotherapist. You've been in the industry for a number of years.
Yes.
How are you faring in regards to other, because we don't even have, in Kenya, we don't even have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses, we don't have enough teachers. So when we talk about sports physiotherapists, how many are you? And is the field growing bigger?
The field is growing at the moment, but we are quite a few compared to other countries, you know, like the developed countries. You know, they take sports so seriously. You will find in each school there is always a sports physio in the school. So as the child is growing, as the child is playing, there's a sports physio, there's a coach always attached to that sport team. So what is happening is we really need to see how we can also build ourselves in that way, like other countries. Then there is something we also need to do a lot ourselves as sports physios and sports scientists as a whole. We need to now start doing the researches, you know, to find out how does this work. Because you can see in the other countries, people even do research on a shoe that someone is using. But Kenya, we haven't reached that stage at all. So we really need to also find out how we can work with. But I know there are a few people who like working with us. Like now I have the World Physiotherapist. I was there last month in Tokyo where we were looking at sports and sports injuries. So they are ready to come in and help us. So we need to form forums where many of them can come, and then we see how we can push Kenya forward as well.
So you feel CHAN will improve and impact the standards of sports therapy in the country?
Yeah, I feel like that. Because I'm seeing it's not only Kenya that's going to watch CHAN. There are many other countries that are going to watch CHAN. Even Europe, they are like, let's see how Africa are doing. So I'm saying it is going to improve a lot. Because I remember the other day someone was calling me and saying, oh, you are hosting CHAN. How is it? How are you going to do it? In fact, it is somebody who is not a Kenyan, but is a sports physio. And they were like, can you invite me? I said, no, I can't invite you. I'm not the one who invites people. But the physios and the sports physios in Kenya are going to handle it so well. You will see.
You've mentioned you've been to Brazil, you've been to China, you've been to a number of countries.
Many, yes.
What lessons can we borrow from those countries in regards to sports therapy? Because mostly we see in English Premier League, which is loved in Kenya, we see the stadiums are so nice, the gyms are so nice, their hospitals, the club hospitals are very nice. So what are some of the lessons that we can borrow and bring to the country that you have seen other countries do?
Okay, now, when I just talk on medical parts, let me give an example. The way now we are putting the Talanta Stadium.
Yes.
If you go to those countries, you find that apart from just those other rooms, there is always a medical part, you know, with all the medical professionals, the sports physio, the sports orthopedic doctors who are actually stationed there at the stadium. So there is a clinic that runs there. So I think Kenya, we can also borrow that as we are starting our Talanta.
Yes.
The other thing we also need to ensure that we have, like now we know there's a lot of youth development. In those youth sports development, let's have a physio or a medic inside so that they can be telling the athletes and the players this is what should happen, or taking care of them, so that athlete grows knowing this is what goes on. So we can still borrow that from other countries because that is happening. In the colleges and universities, you find also there is always a sports physiotherapist, a sports doctors who are handling this. Kenya, by the way, it is not, we are only called during an event. So during an event, you will be told, Jessica, please come organize this because we are having this event. We need a physio to be on course. So that is now what we don't need to do. You know, it is like we work on impulse rather than having something to build us slowly. So that is another thing that we need to borrow, because other countries, they are always having those people there and then at that
full time.
Full time. They are employed Not
They
that
draw a salary,
not that
just
I have
like
to
players.
like now when I'm going, I have to ask for a letter, write a letter to my boss so that I can release me. So the boss will choose either to release you or to tell you take your leave.
Yeah.
You see.
Yes.
So that is something that we need to really be able to develop in the country.
As we develop that, what do you believe are some of the challenges that are faced by a number of the few physiotherapists that we have in the country? And especially when it comes to scaling up or even the use of technology, because in as much as you're talking about being called, you will be called by a club, but you go and find there's some things that they do not even have. There are some machines they do not have.
By the way, that is true.
Yeah.
Lack of equipment. That is most things. You know, we sometimes lack even small things like the TheraBand, you know, for improving. So you'll find sometimes we do improvisation. Let's improvise this. So we need to ensure that we get the correct equipment that are needed. And one other thing you'll see, the gyms that the athletes need to use. We don't have gyms, and the gyms that are there are too expensive for the athletes to afford.
Yeah.
You know, you want to tell an athlete to join this gym, but how will they join that gym when they do not? You know, they don't have a regular income. So financial is another constraint, both for physios and even the athletes themselves. The other thing is also, we would also like, you know, recognition that these are people who are helping build the sportsmen and women. So without that also, you know, it's another challenge. You feel like I'm left behind. You know, I'm only required at a particular time and not at all time. You see, I go home, and then the other thing is follow up. You get an injury, you are a sports person, you get an injury. I will take care of you during that time that I'm with you in the session. So after that, where you go, you go. And that's how you find that most of our athletes, they disappear from limelight so fast. Yeah, because there's no proper follow-up on their medical part. They got an injury. I took care of it that time. It was okay. I told them, go rest. When they go after the end of the tournament, that's it. Okay? So the few who may be, for example, living in Nairobi, will look for us, yeah? They will come, and we may see them. But what about those ones who have gone back to their village? No one can follow them up. Yeah. So lack of follow-up is another big thing that we really need to look into and see how do we follow up on our athletes for sustainability after an injury. Yeah.
And let's look at something that doesn't even require medicine or even machines, that is fatigue and rest.
Yeah.
We have seen players play multiple matches over and over again, and he's playing well, but you can see very well that this person needs rest. How is rest? How much does rest play in regards to therapy?
Rest plays a very great and important role. You know, the body is made into a certain way that it reaches a time when it is over-fatigued. And when it's over-fatigued, it actually wants you. But you'll find that the athletes may not really want to stop. But it is important that every rest is very important. That's why sometimes what we do, you'll find that even for rugby players and football players, we insist they are in bed by 9. By 9, and that's why it is good to have them at the camp. So you sleep at 9, you sleep throughout until 8. There's a time when we even take away their phones, so that they can really rest. Yes. Because rest is key. If they don't rest, they may not even be able to perform again the other time. Fatigued muscles are easy even for tears. So you'll find that if a muscle is so fatigued, it will not release itself. And when you go the next day, you are working on a muscle that continuously protects itself. It goes into what we call spasms, meaning it's protecting itself against you know, the injury. And that is a muscle that can easily tear. That's why you find sometimes an athlete says they have a hamstring tear because of lack of good rest. Yes. Yeah.
There's someone who would like to venture into physiotherapies, the physiotherapy.
Physiotherapy,
yes. What exactly are the requirements, and how do you venture into this? What are some of the opportunities that are there for physiotherapists in Kenya?
Opportunities for Kenya, for physios in Kenya is there. We have degree program running at Jomo Kenyatta University. We have one at Amref University. We have one at Masinde Muliro University. Then there's the Lake University. And then for those who may not have performed so well to reach the university level, there's the Kenya Medical Training College, where they can go and get a diploma. And even if after diploma, they can now go into their degree. But just being a physiotherapist is not a ticket that you are now going to be a sports person. So after you've done your physio, then you need to venture into sports. So you may do, let's say, diploma in sports again, or you can do, you can just, improve yourself in doing even certificates in sports to reach that stage. So education for physios is there. We are having quite a number now. KMTC, I know there are many offering now the diploma courses, and then we have the 5 universities also offering the physio.
And you say the opportunities are many, mostly because of the numerous clubs that we have as well, which is the most rewarding part of your job, because you're more or less a caregiver.
Physio is so rewarding, and not only in sports, because there are so many lines you can take in physio. You can take even a neuro rehab, you can take respiratory rehabilitation, you can take pediatric rehabilitation. So there are so many ways you can be happy. For example, let me tell you, I feel very happy when, for example, an athlete has injured and I've been able to rehabilitate that athlete back to play, that I see the athlete is now playing or running. It makes you feel so happy that, if we didn't take good care of this athlete, they would have gone down. So that is a very rewarding. If I talk on the other side of maybe those who do neuro rehabilitation, you know a stroke patient. A stroke patient who comes to you, bedridden, not able, but in the end, that patient, you are able to rehabilitate that patient back to independence. We call it independence, so that they are not dependent on anybody. So you really feel nice when your athlete or your patient comes back to normal and they are okay. During the COVID, physios did a great job, because most people could not take care of their chest respiratory system. So it was these physios who came in and taught people breathing exercises, they taught them what to do. So, people would scream, I can't get air, but the physio will be there encouraging. And by the way, we saved quite a number of people when it came to that. So physio is a fulfilling career. It is a career that, apart from just being in anywhere, you can work anywhere, anytime. Like even the gyms require physios, by the way. They should not just be there. You've had people injuring in the gym, and then you'll never go back. So all these gyms in Kenya require physiotherapists to be with them.
That brings us to my question on policy changes, because you have traveled far and wide, and you've noticed how a government, the policies that are laid out, such that if it's a club, this is ABCD that you need to be having. But when it comes to Kenya, it's on a need to have basis.
Yes, it's a need to have basis.
Yeah, so Jessica, where are you? We have a match this coming weekend. Can you make time? So what are some of these policy changes that are required, especially in the sports docket, to ensure that not only are we taking care of our athletes, they're also taking care of their bodies as well? Yes,
so what we need to do is that as a country, we need to look at how, let me just put this first. Kenyans are becoming very, people who like sports, because you can always see even in the morning people running around on the roads and all that. So these people need to have a physio to advise and take care of. So the country needs to, if it wants to have a healthy young people or even old generation, they need to ensure that the physios are placed in all the strategic places that they need to be, so that they are able to help these people. I know of private companies will look into that, but the government needs to see, how do I help the Kenyan citizens to be able to work and be okay. And you see, even where the sports and orthopedic center I told you we are setting up, we're not only looking at the athletes, we're also looking at recreational players. You know, those people who wake up in the morning, they do their exercises. You are free to come and consult so that we can tell you what it is. So here we need to do all the pre-assessments, cardiology. You've heard of people collapsing in the gyms. Yeah. So we need to evaluate, see, are you okay to do what you are doing? So physio is key in all areas, and the government should look into it and ensure that there is an expert in all areas to help them go through what they are going through. Yeah.
I'm quite sure there are a number of athletes and even people who like working out who are watching us right now. So what advice would you give to someone on how to stay injury-free, whether that person is a professional in terms of sports, a swimmer, our footballers? What advice would you give to this person? Because sometimes you find a player is injured during the warm-up, 5-10 minutes to a match.
So my advice is listen to your body. You know, your body tells you a lot. But if you ignore what your body is telling you, you may end up in a lot of problems. Okay, for example, if you are in the warm-up the way you have said, and you twist and you feel that, oh, this knee of mine is telling me there's something wrong. Please stop. Find your physio or your doctor. Say, please, can I have an examination of this? Whether you are in recreation and you are doing something and you feel there's this nagging pain that does not go away, please listen to your body and seek advice before you continue. It could be just something small, which when taken care of, it goes. But if you do not take care of it, then it becomes a thing that will be on forever. So my advice to everybody is listen to your body. And before you start any exercise, do enough warm-up. Do enough warm-up so that your muscles are nicely hot and they can be stopped from getting injuries. Yeah.
Maybe you have a case, a patient success story of an athlete who have been having issues, but when he or she sought help from a physiotherapist, now the athlete is continuing, and especially when it comes to our athletes, our runners, our footballers. Do you have any success stories in Kenya?
Yes, we have quite a number of success stories. Like, I'll give an example. There is an athlete who had ACL tear. ACL tear is anterior cruciate ligament tear. It required that this patient must be done a surgery. Surgery was done, and we told this athlete, for sure, you're going to be off play for almost 6 weeks, and listen to us. So after the doctor did the surgery, obviously now they give the patient to the physiotherapist. And that is now we started our rehabilitation program. That athlete is back and is playing rugby now.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are many. There's even an athlete who had an accident, broke his leg, ankle joint. He's a marathon runner. We also did surgery. We went through the rehabilitation. He's back. He's running his marathon again. So there are many success stories that we've seen and watched. There is even another athlete who had a shoulder dislocation. It was actually recurrent, you know, that one which comes on and off, comes on and off, comes on and off. But you see, being an athlete who wants to play, they would hide. But after we took care of that athlete, we just noted that there was some small tear in the supraspinatus muscle, which we put to rest. Nothing much, just put to rest, and then encourage that athlete just to do the gentle little exercises, and the athlete went back. He's back to his basketball. Yeah, so there are many success stories that I can talk of. Yes.
Where does the mental and physical a meeting point? Because mental health is very important. I'm saying this, I'll give you a practical example. I'm also a boxing fan, and there's this athlete called Tyson Fury, who had to stay out of boxing for a number of years because of his mental health. We expect, because boxing is a very physical sport, maybe he injured his arm, maybe his leg, or maybe his ribs, but he had to stay out because of mental illness. How do we balance this and ensure that we don't have, not only have a physically fit body, but also a mentally fit body.
Yeah, one thing for sure, you cannot ignore the mental health. And the mental health, like now, even now, the way the athletes are preparing, they are having mental issues, they are worried, they are, you know, am I going to play well, am I going to do what? And one thing for sure that the athletes do not like is losing. And that actually drives them into a mental health. So most of the time you find that even in our team, you have a psychologist who is able to work with these athletes. After every game, they just talk, and we allow them to freely talk about their issues. Sometimes it could even be an issue at home, which is also disturbing them, and it can bring in some mental issues. So the psychologist is always there to ensure that these athletes are put, you know, they are put into relaxation mode, and they are able to talk about anything that is disturbing them at one particular time. And even after losing a match, you know, that is another time that is also very important that the psychologists should really talk to the athletes and ensure that their mental is taken care of. Yeah.
Well, you also link up with the psychiatrists and psychologists so that to ensure that the players do not even have
we have
issues with their
most of the time you find in the team. That's why I told you it is a multidisciplinary team. We have all those people within. Yeah. Yes.
And because of the interest of time, for final comments, and also anybody who wants to know more about physiotherapy, where can somebody, you know, look for such information, or where can someone get you?
Yeah. Okay, if you are interested in physio, we are there. We are physio leaders actually in Kenya, and we have the Kenya Society of Physiotherapists, and which is also under the government. It's called Physiotherapy Council of Kenya. So we can always get any information related to physiotherapy. Apart from that, also during when there's advertisement, you'll find when KMTC advertising and the university are advertising, you can, and I'm also available for any person. By the way, I got a few kids the other day, and one has just written to me that I'm planning to get into physio. I'm coming to see you. So you can always be free to come. We discuss. I tell you how good physio is and the importance of physio and how you will be even in future. So to find me, you get me at the Nairobi Hospital, Physical Medicine Center. It is on first floor in the new building. You enter through the western entrance. Yes.
And because being in the sports field, I'm quite sure you're also, in one way or the other, a sports fan as well. What are we looking? Are you also part of CHAN?
I'm not going to miss that one.
Yes,
no matter the case, I'm not going to miss.
Yes.
I'm going to be there, but even for now, I'm also part of the Tokyo team. You know, there's a team going to Tokyo for athletics. We will be going in September. I'm also part of that team. I'll be traveling with athletics to Tokyo for the world champion. I'm
looking at also people who train at home, me included. Don't have time for gym, you don't have time to maybe go to a field, maybe to have a run. What's some of the advice that you can give to these athletes so that they may also avoid injuries as well?
So for home players, I will tell you it is also key for you to ensure that before you start any of these exercises, the first thing is for you to do pre-assessment. Please be assessed, because you can still do that exercises in the home and you get something like even, you can even, throw an emboli or something. So we really need to be checking you out and continue. It's not that we want to be with you all the time, but just to advise you, this is the important thing that you can do. I know everybody wants to do some exercises, but exercises also has its own disadvantages and advantages. So if you are just jumping into exercise, it's not normally sometimes the best, and we need to be able to assess you as a group, the multidisciplinary group, and see that you are fit to do anything. But if it is just the normal small things that you do, please make sure you have warmed up your body enough. I know ladies like doing like skipping rope which is a good thing. You can skip, but watch also your weight. Am I supposed to do this skipping? Because what you'll be doing, you are also injuring your knees. You are dumping your knees with a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So we really need to find out how best is it that you are able to do your exercises on your own without causing any injuries to yourself. Yeah.
And I'm looking at how you handle patients with who are resistant to treatment. The reason I'm asking this is because sometimes you find a player has to stop doing what he or she loves the most, either running, you have to either javelin, either football, or even swimming, because of a niggling injury or that has refused to just go away and has to give up all that he had worked for years. How do you deal with those who are resistant to some kind of treatment?
There are a lot of athletes who are resistant to treatment, and they will tell you, "Mi niko sawa, mi niko sawa," but you can see he's not sawa. You see, so what we do is, these are some of the athletes that now we need to engage all our multidisciplinary approach. We need our psychologists to be there, we need the doctor to be there, and we need the physios to be there. And we now take them slowly because, you know, this is, as I told you, there is always pressure to represent the country. Someone wants to see, what am I able to do for my country? And then you are trying to remove him out of that. Then they feel like, I'm going to be a failure. So you really need to go slowly to them, encourage them, talk to them. Sometimes what we do, even for those who are so resistant, we tell them, okay, I want you to try this. You give them a sort of, just a small, you know, exercise, do this. And at times, the athletes themselves will tell you, "Yenyewe daktari, what you said is true, I'm feeling this." So for those ones, we always find a proper way to approach them, because you cannot just say, "Nimesema toka." You can't do that. So you have to go slowly and let them really understand why you are trying to help them. It is for their own good and not for my own good. Yeah.
And how do you approach pain management without the over-reliance on medication? Because we have seen that every time a player is injured, there are some drugs that he or she has to take.
In fact, that's what we are trying to stop.
Oh, the
reliance,
over-reliance on medication.
On medication, because you know, medication has also its own side effects. So if there are just those injuries that can be managed on physiotherapy, then we do that. Remember, in my first talk, I said there's, you know, some machines that are pain relievers, like the ultrasound. There's the TENS, we call it TENS, you know, the one that we use to block nerves from sending impulses to the brain about the pain. Then we have the new machine in town, the shockwave therapy machine, which we do there, and it helps into rejuvenating the ligaments or the muscles, and you feel okay. And I know, I'll tell you for sure, most of the athletes do not like taking medications or injections. They don't like, they will ask you, "Nitadungwa," you know. So it's like, that's why now physio, you find that we are key and we are always there, because they prefer to be seen by ours. You know, we use what we call physical agents. Yeah.
And as we wrap up, I know, you know, Kenyans, we like trying out everything. There's this common myth that, you know, cracking your knuckles, the way I'm doing, you know, prevents or can cause arthritis. What are some of the myths that you can debunk for us in regards to our bodies?
Okay, you know, the body is built in different ways for different people. You'll find some people are able to do those knuckles, even for the neck, for the shoulders, and another one is not able to do it. So we do not say there's anything that's wrong with that, but the only thing we say is that, for example, when it comes to the neck, we do not like a lot of those, you know, on the neck, because what you do is you create some weaknesses in the ligaments that hold it together. So we try our best not to do that. But whatever you can do and it is comfortable, it's not causing you any pain, like your knuckles, me, I can't do mine. It is allowed, you can still do it,
and indeed, so much to talk about, and thank you indeed so much. I have been a sports journalist. As a matter of fact, after I completed college, I was a sports journalist for about 9 years. So I'm quite passionate about matter sports, and also you're also passionate about matter sports. Chaniko KBC.
Yeah.
I would like you to have your final say as we wrap it up. And don't forget to remind our viewers that Chaniko KBC.
Okay.
Camera, my good director.
What I'll tell you.
Camera 4. Yes.
The viewers.
1. Yeah. Okay.
Chan is on, and we are all excited. It is something so good for Kenya. And our channel, which has been our supportive channel in all sports events, that is KBC, will be covering. And please all tune in into KBC and watch the games as they start till the end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That has been Jessica Shiraku, who is a physiotherapist, and we have been looking at matters, our bodies as well. And talking about our bodies, I'm also giving the baton now to Marie Yambo.